friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum, and we are here today to talk about my self-destructing books for 2026. And instead of expiring on Christmas Day, I am going to give myself a little bit of leeway this year and say that they're going to expire on December 31st. And the main reason is because the lead up to Christmas this year was pure insanity. It was chaos. I was so busy, and I would have liked that extra quiet time after Christmas to maybe be able to have one more opportunity to pick up anything remaining here before diving in to my 2026 stuff. So this year I'm going to give myself that extra week. If I have not read these by New Year's on 2027, they're getting unhauled as unread. And we have a mix of genres in this year's stack, but there is kind of still a theme. Most of these are either hardcover or chunky books that I definitely need to get to because they take up a ton of room on our shelves. And a lot of the stack Jake has already read, but I have not. And so it's kind of my fault that they're still here. And of the ones that he has read, he's not sure that I'm going to love them, and I'm not sure I'm going to love them. And so it feels like if I don't have a deadline for them, that they're just going to linger and sit on our shelves forever. And so having this challenge hopefully will give me the accountability I need to either sample or try these, or just let go of the idea of doing it and clear some space on our shelves next year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the list. And we're going to be kicking things off with a sci-fi that I picked out at a used bookstore for myself years ago, and it's Harmony by C.F. Bentley. And I think I was drawn to this because the synopsis on the back says that it has a caste system. And so immediately my brain went to, ooh, it's dystopian. There's probably going to be a rebellion. But if you actually read the whole premise, it is confusing. There's a lot thrown at you and you don't really understand what anything kind of means in the broader picture or the bigger scope. I'm not even sure what the plot of this actually is, whether it even involves a rebellion. And the Goodreads ratings for the first two books in this trilogy are like 3.6-ish, so it's not well loved. Basically, I'm just very unsure whether I'm going to enjoy this one or not, and it's been sitting here forever, and I just need to either pick it up and try it or let go of trying it. My next book for this is one that Jake is adamant has to be here. And I've given him kind of some say-so and let him help me pick the list this year. Because last year we did an additional self-destruct video where we each picked some books for each other's self-destruct. And this year he said, no, I don't want self-destructing books, so we're not doing that video again. But because of that, I said, okay, well, why don't you help me pick my list? And this is one that he is insistent has to be here. And I'm kind of sad about it. I'm not so sure, but I'm going to try and get to it because I think I'm going to have a good time with it. And that is Aching God by Michelle, which is the first book in the Iconoclast series. I will at least concede that this is a chunk and it takes up a lot of room on my fantasy shelves for something that I'm not absolutely sure I'm going to love. And that is a shelf I always need more space on because I'm always interested in more fantasy. So I do really need a push to get to this one. This has been sitting on the shelf here since Jake and I were dating, and I still haven't picked it up. So I am kind of accepting that I could really use a push to pick this one up, and I'll put it on the list. Next up is a sequel to something that was on my 2025 self-destruct list, and that is going to be Twisted by Emily McIntyre. So this is the fourth book in the Never After series, where I have read the first three. And while I have decided to unhaul the first three, I don't want books 4 and 5 sitting on my shelves forever unread. So I want to keep the momentum going and read this one so that I can get rid of it and pass it on to somebody who's going to be more excited about it than I am. I will probably end up picking this one up in one of our readathon months because these tend to be really easy to get through and not very dense, and they're just an easy breezy bingey kind of read. So if you're unfamiliar with these books, each of them is kind of a reimagining of another famous like Disney or other like famous story. And so book 1 was Peter Pan, book 2 was Lion King, book 3 was Wizard of Oz, and book 4 is Aladdin. And of those 4, Aladdin is one that I loved the most. So here's hoping that since the books have gotten better and this one is based on a story I like more than the others, that I'll have a better time with this one. Next up, we have a couple of books that have been sat on my shelves for eons. Like, the next two were sitting on my shelves back in Canada, and they've made it here now, but I still haven't read them. So it has been at least like probably 4 or 5 years that I've had these and haven't touched them yet, and I just need a push to get there. So the first of those we're going to talk about is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer, and this is chunky and hardcover and takes up a lot of room. In fact, I don't even have room to display it at this point. It just lives behind the other books on my fantasy romance shelf. But I do know that this is a loose Beauty and the Beast retelling, and that it has some, I think, cerebral palsy rep it is. I'll have to fact check myself on that. I know it has some kind of rep, but I'm just like doubting myself as to whether that is the rep that this particular one has. So I'm definitely intrigued about this one, but I also find myself not reaching for YA as much anymore, and I just definitely need the push to read this one since it takes up so much room. So the other one that's been sitting on my shelves for years is A Dark Academia, which if you know my reading taste, I don't read a ton of those, and I don't typically love a ton of those. And this is one I haven't really heard anyone else talk about, and that is The Marionettes by Katie Wismer. So I do know that this involves a character who is a witch who is like sworn to serve the vampires. And I know she's in some kind of academy, that there's some kind of sabotage and trials involved. So it sounds like some competition elements that I will enjoy, but I just have not picked this one up yet, and either could really use the push to do so or let go of the idea of trying it because it is Dark Academia, which I don't tend to love. So yeah, this one definitely needs to be here on this project. Next up, we have a couple of thrillers that are hardcover that I've been sitting on our shelves for a while. Jake has read both of these and not really loved either, and is not sure how I'm going to feel about either. So on that basis, I said, okay, I'll put them on this list because clearing off some hardcovers will be an easy way to make more shelf space, especially with our thrillers, which we had to turn a lot of them sideways in order to fit things on after our Christmas Tetris shelf rearranging. So yeah, these definitely should be here. They take up a lot of space. Jake's not sure I'm gonna love them. He's already read them. And they're probably not something I will pick up anytime soon if they are not on my self-destruct list. So yeah. The first of those is The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. And from what I know of this, I'm pretty sure it follows the family of a heart surgeon. So he has divorced his wife, and his two daughters are not happy with who he is dating now. She's younger than both of them, I think, or at least younger than he is. Let's see if this thing says. Yeah, it says specifically that she's younger than both the daughters, and so they perceive her as just being there for their dad's money. And obviously we're going to have their perspective in what's going on here, as well as their mother, the ex-wife's perspective. So yeah, hopefully this one will end up intriguing me and that everybody kind of has some secrets. I always like those types of domestic thrillers where you get multiple reveals and like about each character kind of thing, and it changes your perspective on what you thought you knew. So hopefully I end up enjoying this one. We shall see. And then the other one in that vein is Last Girl Ghosted by Lisa Unger. And from what I know of this, it follows some online dating gone wrong. I think the tagline says it's an online dating match turning into a deadly cat and mouse game. So yeah, I am curious about this one, but again, need a push to pick it up. Otherwise, it's going to sit here and linger forever. Moving into some hardcover horror, we have another one that was on my shelves in Canada. This one I got from my sister's Unhaul, and I know literally nothing about it. Like nothing. It is Lone Women by Victor Laval, but I do know Jake has read several Victor Laval books, and he doesn't love this one, and he doesn't think I'm going to love this one. So it'll be interesting to see if he is correct, or if I end up giving this a go and really liking it, because sometimes we have similar tastes, other times we do not. But either way, this has been around on my shelves for bloody forever, and I need to either get there or let go of it. Another horror that is, again, another hardcover that takes up a considerable amount of space on our shelves that Jake didn't love, but that I want to try before we let go of, is The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve-Dew. So I typically don't love books set in this time period, but something about this one definitely intrigues me. And I've also just heard such great reviews about it from other friends. Some I have similar tastes to, others not so much. And I'm just not sure how I'm going to feel about this one, but I'm not ready to let go of it without at least sampling it and giving it a go. So while we had it, I was like, no, don't get rid of that one yet. I want to try it. And I need to keep myself accountable to actually trying it if I'm going to be the reason we hang on to it. So on the list it goes. Then this last one, I had put on a brainstorm list for books for this video. And when I was pulling the books off the shelves to film this, I was like, do we own a book with this title? So if that doesn't tell you how much I have forgotten about this book and just need a push to read it, like, I don't know what will. He also didn't know what it was at first, and he thought that maybe I had written down something we already unhauled or something that just I got the title wrong. But nope, it's here. It's The Last Girl by Nadia Murad. And this is a memoir about a girl who was captured, I think, by the Islamic State, and kind of her harrowing story. I'm pretty sure that it involves her being brought into the slave trade at one point. And so, yeah, I have heard that this is a really, really good one, but it's just one that I have completely forgotten about and has sat here forever, and I'm not going to get to it unless I'm reminded to get to it by putting it on this challenge. So I'm hoping that I get to this one. I'm hoping that I end up reading it, and it's not really the kind of read you enjoy, but get something interesting and learn something out of her journey and her experience. And as I said, it definitely needs to be here because I had forgotten what this book even was just from the title alone, even though I had written it on a brainstorm list of possibilities for this video. So that was it for all the books on my 2026 self-destructing list. Let me know down below in the comments, which of these do you think I need to prioritize? Which are you excited for me to get to? Do you think I made a mistake by putting any of them here? Do you want to buddy read any of these with me this year? As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye!